what do I see NIO's share price being in the long term despite the recent drop we have seen? So the Dow Jones is up above 30,000, helped by a progress in the stimulus front, but there is still some turbulence going on for electric vehicles, with NIO and XPeng and Li Auto all being in the red today. NIO went down around 5.5% despite the almost 6% run-up of yesterday, so there is clearly some volatility going on here. Again, we are seeing this common behavior of NIO falling sharply at the beginning of the day and recovering a bit later in the day, which just tells me how much the long-term investors believe in NIO, buying it up every single time it dips. And I suspect that there are a lot of institutional money also taking these dips as opportunities to increase their positions in NIO. But still, what happened to the legislation to possibly delist Chinese stocks? The vote is done right now, so why haven't we seen more crazy movements? How has this affected my price targets for NIO, and is it still a buy in my opinion? That's what we're going to go through today, along with my main bullish points for NIO right now. So stay tuned. If you're new here, by the way, my name is Sam and welcome to the channel. If you feel like you get something out of this video, I would appreciate it so much if you clicked right on that like button, since it just helps out the channel more than you can imagine. And if you want to be here for future updates on NIO and various other interesting growth stocks with tons of upside potential, make sure to subscribe and join our rapidly growing community. Now back to NIO. So NIO is down around 6% today, which does seem scary, but if you manage to survive the minus 15% dip on Wednesday before it turned to an almost 6% gain that day, there is nothing compared to that. I really don't think these movements have anything to do with NIO as a company, but rather uncertainty regarding the valuation of all electric vehicle stocks combined with the delisting panic we're seeing. Pretty much all EV stocks are down right now, and not only the Chinese ones like XPeng, Li Auto and NIO, but even Hyliion, Nikola and Workhorse are down this week. The only exception here being Tesla really, which has gotten a big boost from the inclusion to the S&P 500, and now very recently a price target increase from Goldman Sachs. So keep in mind here that in the short term, the movements of a stock do not reflect the actual value. And that's why I think that despite NIO being down right now, their fundamentals have never been stronger. So before I get into the recent developments in the legislation to possibly delist Chinese stocks and what share price I see for NIO in the future, I will be explaining to you why I think NIO share price has tons and tons of upside. So despite Tesla right now obviously being the global leader in the electric vehicle industry right now, NIO is emerging fast and has so much going for it. First of all, the Chinese EV market is on an absolute roll and their manufacturers stand for 50% of all the worldwide EV deliveries. The EV companies in China have support from a bunch of different government policies with subsidies and a strong supply chain network. Analysts and experts in the industry are very optimistic in China's ability to transition into green and renewable energy, with estimates that China's EV penetration will grow 5-fold by 2025. And I would definitely argue that NIO is very well placed to secure a large part of those market shares in this growing industry. And time after time, NIO has proven that they are on track to become a well-established, long-lasting company in China. Quite ironically, we saw NIO again having record deliveries for November on the same day where they dropped the most. The last reported quarter, NIO has reported $666 million in revenue, which was above the consensus estimates of $628 million. And as if that wasn't enough, the profit margin on the vehicles was all the way up to 14.5% compared to the same quarter a year ago. Now it will be interesting to see whether NIO manages to reach their Q4 goals of 16,500 to 17,000 vehicles delivered, but regardless, I think their growth has been astonishing. And to add to this, NIO has a very unique battery swapping technology where any EV user can quickly charge their batteries and save their time. In October, it was announced that NIO completed more than 1 million battery swaps, and that has been very well received. What is also awesome about this service is that it can work quite independently of NIO's car-related operations. It diversifies the company and opens the door to many opportunities that other EV companies might not have. And lastly, I want to point out just how much the Chinese government is supporting NIO. Now, how ethical or fair this is can definitely be discussed, but the truth is that 24% of the company is owned by Hefei Investor Group, so basically the government of China. And it's a no-brainer that China will do their absolute best to create an environment where NIO can thrive. For example, in the beginning of 2020, when NIO was running low on cash and was on the brink of filing for bankruptcy, they managed to get $1 billion in support from the government, and suddenly these issues were no more. And I think China's interest to have a successful EV company goes beyond just the economics. It would be something to be proud of, and it would give the world the perception that China is on the forefront when it comes to sustainable yet highly advanced technology. And that is definitely something to be proud of. But with that said, NIO stock is still down today, along with most Chinese electric vehicle companies. And I do think it is mainly just a consolidation where short-term investors take profits and the longer-term investors can slowly start buying more shares at lower prices. But the fears of NIO getting delisted from the New York Stock Exchange have likely contributed to this. So let's go through this before I talk about my price target for NIO. First of all, the bill has been passed at this point, so there's a countdown of a couple of years where NIO will get delisted if China doesn't come to an agreement with the US. Keep in mind, guys, NIO's auditors are registered among the approved auditors. We have always known this. The issue is rather that Chinese authorities have made policies that impede the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, or PCAOB, to oversee these registered auditing firms in China. Now, as I just said, we will have 3 years for China and the US to come to an agreement before NIO would actually get delisted. And personally, I just really think there's too much money at stake here, and that it is in the interest of both parties to negotiate and come to an agreement. And when they do negotiate, I think the NIO share price will just shoot right up, as that is a quite large risk factor that would be taken away. So lastly, do I see NIO as a good buy right now despite this risk? Yes, I do. Personally, I see this thing going up a lot more, and with everything going for them that I talked about earlier, there's so much potential really. I think a $100 share price by 2021 is reasonable, and in the much longer term, meaning 3 to 5 years maybe, $250 to $300 will not surprise me at all. And especially if NIO can start expanding globally. And they're already working on the plans for selling in Europe. So I'm really excited for that. But of course, there is definitely some risk involved, so stay diversified and have a well-balanced portfolio of many different stocks on various risk levels. For me, I like to have around 15% or 10% of my portfolio being made up of NIO. So even if for some reason China and US decide to miss out on hundreds of billions of dollars in mutual benefits by not negotiating about this, my portfolio will be just fine. And with that, I want to conclude today's video. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to give it a like to help us reach out to more people about NIO and show them the case of the stock and the pros and cons of it. It's really the absolute best way you can support me. Also guys, keep in mind I'm not a financial advisor, so what I say in this video is not really financial advice, and take it more like entertainment. Make sure to do your own research in the stock market and decide for yourself whether you think NIO is a good stock to buy or not. Also, if you have watched all the way to this point and if you enjoyed the content, of course, subscribe to this channel and I will make sure to provide more updates for you. About 90% of your friends are not subscribed right now, and I would be so happy if you decide to join our community by doing so. Let's see if we can reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.